What is up, you guys? That sound you just heard is what I'm going to show you guys how to do. It's just a combination of two silents. I will now show you another little clip. This is just a session I'm just messing around, just creating a bunch of different patches and stuff. Just really my sound design template, just a simple beat, and I'm just messing around. So I came up with this, and here's another a variation of the sound you just heard. And here's another one. So it's a very cool sound. A lot of people wouldn't go for this kind of stuff inside of Silent, but I made it with Silent. So I will show you now what I did. So let me see. I do have this grouped, and it sort of is a part of the sound. Really, more than anything else, this is just going to give you an idea of how I process things to get a certain sound that I've come to like a lot. So let me try to figure out where to start with this. Okay, let's see. We're going to turn off everything that's going on up here, and we'll go back to this later because this is an overall group processing. So now we have this sound. I'll turn it up so you guys can hear that. And you don't need to worry about these two wow filters. I'm only using one. It's just I have this one to switch between another one for automation purposes that I don't even end up using. So yeah, don't worry about that. So all you need is wow filters, Camel Crusher, and of course Silent. And Camel Crusher is a free plugin, so you don't even have to worry about that. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the top layer, which sounds like this. I'm going to turn off the wow filter for that one too. So it sounds like that, and it's a very easy patch to make, as I recall. So you're just gonna go here into your first Silent, go menu, initialize, and that's it. And now you're gonna bring this up to 16 voices. For oscillator 1, you're just gonna leave it on a saw, and then just bring this up to 1 voice. Let's see, didn't do anything here, so very simple right there. I don't think I even touched this, but I'll go over it just in case. So attack is all the way down, decay is all the way down, sustain all the way up, release is at 0.10. And let's go to oscillator 2, which is just a sine wave, so 2 voices. And didn't touch anything up here. And I didn't bring these up or down an octave or anything, so very simple. And then for our filter section, I just have a high pass. I put it on the 12 dB slope. And the drive is at 2.48, reso is at 9.19, and cutoff is at 11.81 hertz. And I didn't even touch the filter control, so don't worry about that. Didn't touch anything here. Now we're going to go into part B, where everything is mostly the same in terms of the amp envelope. I just brought the attack up slightly, or it doesn't really matter. It's such a really doesn't even matter, so it's exactly the same really. For the oscillator 1 here in part B, I have another saw wave, brought this up 8 voices. I phased it at 180 degrees, I detuned it to 2.33, and now for oscillator 2 here, I put a square wave, or a pulse wave as it's called in Silent. I brought that up to 1 voice, I inverted this wave, and I detuned it to 5.76. And let's see. If you want to copy this where I have that, and maybe play around with Legato if you want, you can do that. And let's see. So let's now go over to our filter B, where we just have a high pass again on the 12 dB, or 12 dB slope. Drive is at 2.48, reso, okay, it's exactly the same as part A, actually. I just realized that. So you can copy this over, pressing this little C right here, and then just go part B and paste it in. And that's pretty much it for this sound. Oh, actually I'm forgetting this stuff right here. So we do have an arpeggiator on. It's on down step, so mode is down, which is this one right here, and then the velocity is on step. Our time is on 1/2, and we have a 76% gate, so that's how much it's releasing. And for distortion, I have some foldback, which is a nice distortion that I like. That Silent has this kind of cool distortion, and amount is all the way up, and it's at 39% for dry wet. And then of course a little bit of reverb to top it off and give it some space. So everything's down up here. The size is where it is by default, so that's 7.50 or 5, and width is all the way up, and the dry wet is at 12%. So it's just, just to give it a little bit of reverb, not too much. And then I just have a little bit of sidechain compression. So if you want to look at my settings, go ahead. I'm not going to go over it. It's just sidechaining really to the kick. And now I have a wow filter. So this is just a little preset I saved called Big Fucking Fatso, and it makes things sound fat. And that's because there's a lot of reso and a lot of overdrive, and the mix and master are up all the way. And I have this on val mode on band reject. So band reject, val mode, I have it on U, kind of pointing around this line underneath 50. I have a little bit of an LFO, so if you right click on that, you can put LFO and and other things on it too. And for the LFO here, I have this 1/16, wave is a sine, and I think all this stuff is exactly the same. And then again, overdrive all the way up. Reso is probably where I guess 85 or 90 would be. So kind of the third line from the bottom. And let's see, that's all you need for that. So you should probably have something like this. I will turn that back down to where it was. So that was at like 17 dB, something like that. It's a very plain sound by itself, but I'm not trying to make a crazy patch by itself. I'm trying to do an overall sound, and I kind of know how to accomplish it by doing little steps at a time. So now just select this track, the one you just finished, and press Command D and just copy that one down so you have an exact replica of that one. And now, so everything's the same here. The sidechain is the same, and the wow filter is exactly the same. The only difference is the patch. So now, let's see. Okay, so initialize your silent real quick. And then now, once you've done that, bring this up to 16, and let's start with oscillator 1. So oscillator 1 is just a triangle wave, and we're going to bring this up to 1 voice. And now that we have triangle and saws kind of going against each other, it's going to really fill in a lot of gaps that there would be if it was only just saw waves. So and make sure retrig is on. I didn't touch anything up here, so let's move on to oscillator 2. I brought this one up 3 octaves. It's another triangle wave, and there's 2 voices on this one. Retrig is on, and that's really it. Again, I didn't do anything here. It's just the default. We do have a high pass right here for filter A. It's 12 dB. Drive is at 2.48. Reso is at 919, and the cutoff is at 1181 hertz. So it's the same as the other one. So I think I made just some changes to the other patch, which is sometimes a time saver for me. I like to copy entire tracks like I did over here, and then I just change the patch but have all the same processing and just kind of go for a new sound. And sometimes I just A and B and see which sound I like more and keep that one. And sometimes I actually just end up making a layer, which is kind of what happened here. And so now let's go to part B. And for part B, I have some pulse waves on both of these. So let's start with the first one. So this is just a H pulse actually, and this is 8 voices. I detuned it to 233. I phase this one. I always like to kind of have in silent, I like to kind of phase at least one oscillator a little differently so that it creates a little bit more wideness, I suppose. Or sometimes I just play around with it to see what I could get. So again, just like the other one, oscillator 1 and B is phased to 180 degrees. And let's see. Okay, so oscillator 2. This one is a pulse wave, so make sure this one is a H pulse, and this one is a pulse. And this wave is inverted again. And this is one voice. This is detuned to 5.76. And that's really it. So I'm pretty sure this is exactly the same as a part A's filter. It is. And of course it's going to be the same arpeggiator settings because I wouldn't want to change that. I want them both to play the same thing. Distortion's the same, reverb is the same. So I only really change the waves. And this is what that one sounds like. And this is what the other one sounds like. So they're very similar, but I just changed certain things to make this one kind of like the noisy one. Kind of has like a noise quality, and this one is just really more like the, I guess what you would say, the drive of it. I don't know. I was just thinking like how to combine this. So and I only have these 3 dB apart. So this one is -20 and this one's -17. Now I'm gonna bring my group channel back down to, I think I had it at 6 dB, 6.4. So it's really quiet, but that's because I'm about to turn on everything here. Okay, so I have my wow filter turned on, and I'm just using this one here. So don't worry about this one. Again, like I said earlier, it's just so like when I turn this knob, I'm switching between the wow filters. If you look at the little yellow dot, you can tell which one's on. So I have this one on. If you want to know how to do that, I guess I'll show you really quick. When you map stuff, if you map the on and off the device on and off to one macro and then invert one, that's how you can turn one on and one off. So yeah, you just double click or right click and you can invert range, and now they have opposite functions related to wherever this macro is placed. But anyway, who cares? We're not doing that. So this is just another wow filter. So really, if a lot of you must really know that I like to layer wow filters and compressors and distort a lot of things because that's kind of the genre sound, or at least that's kind of what I like about it. So I always get heavy tones out of very simple patches, just using and enhancing with the wow filter. Filtering is really great. So probably while I was talking, you noticed I had a band reject here for our filter mode, and val mode is off. I have a little bit of overdrive right here, kind of pointing at this line. Oh, that's 2 lines away from 50. I really wish I had the wow filter too, because as much as I love overdrive, the wow filter 2 has different types of distortion that you can change, and that blows my mind, because that would be crazy to have a lot of options in the distortion with the wow filter. Anyway, so now the cutoff is kind of slightly beneath 300, which is kind of my sweet spot for a lot of bassy metallic sounds. Oh, I mean, more metallic would be maybe 500 or so, but whatever. And a little bit of reso there. I have no modulation going on, so none of this stuff is doing anything. And the mix is right around there, kind of like 45, I guess. And master is right there. And now the sound, or the main distortion that's giving it that crunch, because this is what it sounds like right now. And now just Camel Crusher, which is a free plugin, makes it sound like this. And again, this plugin is so easy to use, it's free, and it's a good distortion. And I really love the compressor on this. If you use this on kicks, you can get those distorted kicks to sound fucking amazing. Only thing is, it gets very high pitch, obviously because distortion makes the waves in the oscillation kind of bundle really close to each other, and that gives the apparent high pitch frequency. Anyway, So for distortion, tube is right around here. This is right around there. For the compressor, I didn't go overboard. I just kind of made sure it was on fat mode. And the mount is right there. And then master, you can see where volume and mix are, and very simple and easy to use. So now all that ended up gave me this. I know it seems like a lot of work for something you could probably create in one patch or something like that, but really what I wanted to show is, you don't always have to be so complex. You can process things a certain way and get a sound you want. And I haven't EQ'd and compressed this or added on extra reverbs and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is just the basic sound already. And if you guys were wondering what this is doing here, this is just a utility, which is a Ableton plugin. So it's just right here, and I'm automating the width of that. So let me see. I'm gonna find a part where I'm using that. Let's see, stereo. Okay. If you double click up here, it zooms you all the way out. So it looks like I'm using it in this range right here. So while it's playing over here, once it gets to this part, the width is going to go way up. So it's very mono right now. It's only at 22% width, which is very center. And then once it gets to here, it's going to be at like, let me see, 140%. So that's very far out. That's very like, stereo. So that's kind of why I do that, and that's really it. You guys, hope you guys like this. Like, subscribe, you know the biz. Lates.